Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for today I am going to talk about my personal story as an immigrant living here in the UK for 3 years and how it has changed me. I was born and raised in Nueva Vizcaya. If you don't know where that is, there's a reason why Google is there, so you better search it. Even my own people don't know where Nueva Vizcaya is. That is how underrated it is. But anyway, I'm just joking. I'm here to educate you about that. It is actually 6 to 8 hours away from the capital city, Manila. There are 15 municipalities in Nueva Vizcaya, and I am from Solano. So I am close to the capital of Nueva Vizcaya, which is Bayombong. So I would always go to Bayombong to visit some family relatives. So my life in the province of Solano, I would go to school, go to the market, and then go home and cook and do some assignments and projects from school and then sleep. And then yeah, that cycle goes over and over. During the weekends, it's either we would do a group project, or I would go out with my friends and eat at McDonald's or Jollibee, or maybe grab some bubble tea. I just realized I was doing a lot. I remember going home at night because I'm part of a dance group and then I am also part of a choir group. So, if there's an event in our school, we would practice the dance and then also every Sunday we would sing at church. So, yeah, I had an interesting life. During the pandemic, also, my friends and I would go biking. We would just go up in the mountains and then see the sunrises. Yeah, it's the good old days, I get it. How did I end up here in the first place? We have to live here for good. My mom, who has been working in Spain for almost a decade, she decided to move here in the UK for better work opportunities. I really remember this. I was at my room doing my assignments and projects. Then suddenly I received a call from my mom. And then my mom told me, "Get ready now, physically and mentally. I'm gonna get you to live here in the UK." And I remember my reaction was I was so shocked and anxious at the same time. I had been waiting for years. I remember telling to my friends, "Oh, my mom will get me to live in Spain with her." I've been telling that to my friends ever since I was 10 years old. When I was 17, that was the time where she actually got to do that when she moved here in the UK. Yeah, I told my friends the good news and also the bad news, which is good news, guys, I'm leaving for good. The bad news is, yeah, I'm leaving. My friends and I were just celebrating and then saying our goodbyes in the span of 3 months. Leaving the house I grew up in, it was so sad because I grew up in that house, in my grandmother's house, and then I remember leaving my own room and just saying to myself goodbye to all those memories that I've made in this house, because I know for a fact that if I ever to return here, it's not gonna be the same anymore. We prepared all the documents, the flight tickets, and in January 2021, that was the time where we landed here in the UK. My reaction? It was so cold. Because imagine growing up in a country where it's mostly hot and then moving to the UK, which is mostly cold. My body physically froze. My mom there was to greet us like, "Oh, I miss you so much, my son." And it was so amazing to see her after a decade of her working overseas. I have faced several challenges throughout my stay here in the UK, especially the language barrier. My English wasn't Englishing. What I meant by that is I wasn't really fluent in speaking in English. Although I also had a thick accent. My accent was so thick that people cannot even understand me. So to improve, I watched many English YouTube videos. I tried to immerse myself by conversing into the locals. Cultural differences here in the UK. They don't eat rice often here. Their food is less flavorful, and they are very direct in their communication. They also like small talks here. Sometimes they just talk about the weather, just like the weather that I'm seeing now in my window. It's so cloudy. as usual. And it's summer. We don't get to pay for healthcare, which is good. Although the catch is it's slow. Yeah, and I'm really grateful that the time that I moved here, I never really gotten sick. Because in my country, I used to get sick a lot, and then I would just go to the clinic near my house, and then I would pay if they would give me medication. Good thing here, I'm healthy. I would just get flu, but at least I wouldn't have to go to a hospital. Also, culture shock here, students work. Now, when I was in my country, I am just focusing on studying. If I need money, I would ask my parents. And at that time, my mom is working in Spain. Of course, the euros to Philippine pesos exchange rate is quite high. For sure, I rarely see a working student in my school. Most of us don't have part-time jobs because there's actually a reason to this. I saw it on Facebook once and it just baffles me. This fast food restaurant is hiring and then they are requiring a college degree for you to get in. While here in the UK, I can have little to no experience and I can work in any fast food. Here in the UK, students work. They work here because they need money to be able to save up for college. And in fact, they also have a thing called gap year. Gap year is where you would stop to go to school for 1 year, typically before you go to uni, for you to work full time, for you to gather the funds, for you to have money when you go to university. Despite the challenges of me being an immigrant here in the UK, I have grown so much. My mindset has shifted, I've become more fluent in English, and I've developed new skills from working in restaurants, in coffee shops, and then I've made friends. Whenever I don't like something, I would just say to them like, hey, don't talk to me like that, which I would never in my country because I would be considered rude. Sometimes I feel like a split between my Filipino identity and then adapting a life here in the UK. Sometimes I'm Filipino, sometimes I'm British, and sometimes I don't know where I'm at. In order for me to keep in touch with my roots, I try to speak Filipino here at home and then English outside of home. Because of course I'm already living here in the UK, it's all English outside. So in our house, I would talk to my parents in Filipino. Sometimes I just see immigrant problems. Sometimes I just forget how to speak in English because my mind is like that. My English is so bad right now. At least I've seen my growth. At least I'm fluent in English now. There are some times where I'm just not fluent at all. Memorable experience for me is realizing how hard it is to earn money. But I suddenly had this realization where I was working in my first part-time job and then I received my first salary ever in my whole life. There was this feeling of not wanting to spend it because I've worked so hard to earn this money. And that's when I've realized, oh, okay, this made me appreciate my mom's sacrifices even more. My advice to new immigrants, not only here in the UK, but in the whole world, don't be so hard on yourself if you cannot speak English that fluently. I was in your place once. I remember when I was here for a few months, I was trying so hard to really perfect my English speaking skills, but that just doesn't work. It takes time. And it took me 3 years for my English proficiency to be like this. I even struggled to have the TH sound on my first months here. I pronounced the TH as just a normal T, which is not good because a slight change of pronunciation can ruin the whole meaning. I used to practice it every day until it became a muscle memory, which I don't have to even think about it. When it comes to having friends, it's okay for you to not have friends when you first move into a place or in a country. My advice, have a part-time job. If you move somewhere for work, make sure to make some friends also. I know there's a rule that your friends shouldn't be your workmates. Sometimes that's not applicable. Most of my friends are my workmates, but not all of them. When you're working in a restaurant, or when you're working somewhere you need to converse with customers, you improve your English speaking skills. So that's why I'm really so grateful for my first part-time job here in the UK because I had the chance to really converse in English. Not only I get to converse with customers, but also with my workmates. This is a huge one. As much as possible, try speaking your own native language. Because the thing is, I'm so grateful that this hasn't happened to me yet. Because there are times where you will forget how to speak your native language. For me, I still know how to speak my native language, but there are times where I forget words, and that's okay. Of course, you are in a new country. You're having a new life. I've been here for 3 years. Technically, I am still 3 years old. Never be ashamed of your ethnicity. If you're trying to be whitewashed because you don't like yourself, then you need to work on that. When it comes to racism and stuff, I'm so grateful again that I've never received any racism here. It's because it's a very diverse country. As far as I'm aware, they are not racist here. Whenever I have received someone who wants me to go back in my country, one lesson that I've really learned is to always return the kindness and to make our parents proud. As an immigrant myself, my parents have sacrificed so much just for me to get a good life here in the UK. Now it's my time to return the kindness. To all immigrants out there, I am so proud of you. I am so proud what you have become. You have grown so much as a person. See you guys again for the next video. Bye.